Boom, there we are. All right, so we are in this thing. What's up, everyone? Wanted to first say thank you guys for joining. I'm joined with, well, obviously I'm Antoine Thomas. If you don't know who I am, I'm a real estate agent here in Lafayette, Indiana, got a team. And I want to share with you guys some very important information. What I find is a big problem in our industry. And I'm joined with Mr. Bryan Casella, who I believe can really break this stuff down at a high level about breaking through and commanding the market through the way you communicate. So Bryan, what's up, my brother? How are you doing today?
What's up, bro? Just like Leonardo behind you, I'm gonna raise my cup to you, my friend, like that. What's up?
Absolutely,
yeah, things are good, bro.
man.
You know, thanks for having me. We've been friends for a long time, man. I've known you, what, 8-9 years now, pretty much since the beginning almost. And you know, 10 years later almost, we're still talking about the same thing, you know. And even when people ask, oh man, can you do content on this? I'm like, why would I if y'all can't even handle the basics still? And you're 100%. Still unable to even answer an objection, right? Facts. Or convert somebody, or you have trouble with lead follow-up, right? Or, oh, Antoine, how do I stay motivated? I'm like, dude, the bulk of the questions are at that level. If they're still at that level, that tells me the level of proficiency is at that level as well. So if we start, you know, talking about scaling and all that, we're already ahead. You know, we're skipping to 5th grade when you're in kindergarten. So I think part of this too is people need to assess genuinely where they're at. And if you suck, you suck. You admit it. Hey, I'm not good. I'm new. Let's start. And Facts. I'm glad we're doing this because this is exactly what people need to handle. Everybody runs away from the subject because where they start is not good. And the way I would test this is easy. Let me grab any of you and let's walk down the street and I'll just point at somebody. Hey, go talk to them. You'll shake in your boots and you won't do it. Most of you. Or if you do, you'll crumble. You won't know what to say. Hey, this dude sent me to come talk to you. Hi.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I want to do, because that's a good way to kind of let everybody know who you are real quick, Bryan, because I mean, if you've been living under a rock, then you got to get to know this man and what he teaches and what he's focused on. Bryan, share with everyone, like, you know, how long you've been in the business and, you know, where you at, where did you start and where you at today?
Yeah. So to everybody who doesn't know me, Bryan Casella is my name. I started in LA in California about 2013, end of 2013. I got my real estate license. What separated me, I think, even from the jump was right before I got my license, I got coaching right away. Boom. Right. I went to a Mike Ferry event. I got the coaching. I got it from day one. And that's something I preach to people. You got to get coaching. I don't care who it is, me, Antoine, Bob Smith, whoever the hell it is, get a coach. Right. And when I started, I went real old school, rolled my sleeves up and did door knocking, cold calling, traditional prospecting. I built up my business fairly well. I did 123,000 in gross commissions my first year, 250 the second year, 350 the third year. Started growing my team by the third year. You fast forward to a couple of years ago, I went nationwide with my team. I moved myself to Miami, and now my team is nationwide. We're in 13 states in the United States. We joined Real Brokerage 5 months ago. We did over 120 million in volume last year, so we're doing really well. And that's not even touching on all the other stuff, right? That's just strictly real estate sales.
Facts, and that's beautiful, because I've been able to ride along with you on that journey to just see, because you've helped me in my journey as well, but just see the progress. So we're going to talk, because you're famous for like door knocking, cold calls. If you never watched Bryan on video before, check him out on YouTube. He actually has videos of him making the phone calls and demonstrating what it takes, right? A lot of people, because we talked about it before we hopped on the call, it's you got to do more of it. And that requires a certain mindset. BC, I want you to break down the mindset that you need to have when it comes to communicating at a high level.
Yeah. You got time? Because we're going to need a couple hours.
Let's get it, brother.
So we were talking a little bit, me and Antoine, before we went live, right? And let's say you listen to him now, or me now, or anybody who you would consider good. Let's say you follow other people who you think are good, right? And you're like, man, they're nice on the phone, right? They can close anybody. You have to understand that the person didn't start there. So I made a post, and actually I think Antoine hit me up because of that post to do this webinar, where I said, my first year when I was reporting my numbers, I was with Century 21 in Downey, California, which is like 10 minutes outside of downtown LA, right? I started there, and we would report our numbers at the Monday meeting at 12 p.m. every Monday, right? And I was always reporting from the previous week, 250 contacts, 300, 275, 350, 400 if I went like real ham one week, right? And I'm not getting too many leads and appointments. I'm learning, right? I'm learning the ropes. I'm talking to people. I'm understanding what my weaknesses are. Because keep in mind, he brought up mindset. When I started that, it was, I need to saturate myself with this and do it so much that this period of sucking and not being good and being trash, because you're all going to suck when you start. Even if you're on this webinar, like, man, I'm GQ smooth, I got it, like I'm a social butterfly, all the garbage that you guys say, that has nothing to do with sales. I'll repeat that. That has nothing to do with sales. Why? You'll talk yourself out of the sale, Mr. GQ smooth, right? Or Mrs. GQ smooth, right? If you think you're that one, right? So regardless of where you fall, right? When you get into the sales game, it's different. Now you're calling somebody when they don't want you to call them. You're knocking on a stranger's door. This is a different barrier than like going to a networking event or a club where you're expected to socialize, right? So you have an additional hurdle to overcome. Now, when you start, you're going to have your scripts and you're going to have some sort of tactics. Okay. I said, all right, I'm going to tackle this thing head on and I'm going to oversaturate myself so much that the learning curve starts going down. You guys want the easy button? Overdo it. Instead of prospecting an hour or two a day, do 5 or 6 hours a day. And after 90 days, you'll be a monster if you do that, right?
Facts.
Because the first question I would throw at the people who would question that, I would say, what else are you doing? If you have no business, very few leads or no leads, no appointments, you need to be talking to people 24/7, not watching videos, not dancing on TikTok or any of that stuff. It needs to be, you need to be making phone calls, going door to door and talking to other human beings. Okay. And I said, I'm going to saturate this thing, right? Even the wind agrees. It slammed the door. It said, preach, mic drop, right? I did 1,000 to 1,200, 1,200 contacts a month. That's about 250 to 300 a week. Okay. Conversion rate, terrible, because I did one deal a month on average, a little bit more. Okay. Now, the year after that, it started changing. I was still making a lot of contacts, but my production basically doubled that next year, a little bit more than doubled. Right? Then it went up another 30, 40% and it started, but I built that foundation in the beginning. And the mindset was, the more I do now, the less I have to do later. The more I do now, the better I'm going to get. There's no, like, this isn't a 9 to 5 where you have a limited amount of time, you do your work and you leave. No, you get out of it what you put in. And my question to everybody is, when you come in, my mindset was, dude, I'm going to be top dog here. I don't care. Like, if you remember the story, Antoine, that I said at the mastermind, I went up to the front of my office as a newbie and said, you see this top 10 board? I'm going to be on here at the end of the year. Remember this face. And everybody laughed. But in my mind, I said, they have no idea who they're messing with. Now, I'm not special saying that. That's a bold thing to do, because a lot of people are like, bro, you got balls to do that. But when I said that, I knew I was going to back it up. I wasn't just saying it to run my mouth. Right. Every day, I was the first one to show up and the last one to leave. I was the one door knocking all day, every day, cold calling all day, every day, studying my scripts, role playing. I role played, Antoine, by the way, 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day,
Jeez.
2 hours a day. And I'm sure, most agents won't even prospect 2 hours a day. I practice more than they work. Right. Now, again, am I saying any of you have to do this? No, but when he said mindset, he didn't mean motivation and all that. He meant, okay, what's the frame of mind? That's what mindset is. The frame of mind coming into this thing. And when the mindset is, I'm going to be number one and do whatever it takes to get there, then the actions align with it. If they don't, then you're a hypocrite and you're incongruent, period. Then be quiet, sit down, and don't share the memes and the motivational quotes, and just be Mr. or Mrs. Average, right? Now, for a lot of people, this sounds very harsh, but it's the truth, right? You step up and you're working hard. Even if you're struggling, me or Antoine will notice that and help you, because you're putting the work in. I don't care if you have a sliver of talent, but you're working hard, I'll pick you up from your bootstraps myself and help you, because you're putting in the work and you deserve it. But if you're I'm playing the fence, I'm not sure, I want to try this out, I'm going to say, there's the door, get out. I don't want to talk to you, because that's not the right mindset. You don't get into real estate to just, I'm going to try it out, Antoine. I'm going to see, hopefully it works out for me, right? Like all the linguistics that you hear, bro. And we'll get into that. This career path is not for that. It's, I'm coming in here and nobody knows me. I have no idea, but I'm going to be number one. That's the person who I want to work with, because that's the person who's going to get somewhere. Because when the first challenge steps up, they're going to attack it. They're not going to run away. right?
Yes.
Now I could keep going, bro, but I'll pass it back to you for now.
No, that's beautiful. I think that's the foundation of this entire webinar, because we can share the scripts, how to role play, how to prospect, how much to prospect, who you should call, what your presentation should be, all of the stuff. But if you don't get the mindset down, I think Tony Robbins says business is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. If we don't get this part down, then you don't make real progress. Then if you don't make real progress, what do? You feel bad, you don't feel empowered, and then it's even harder to make that phone call.
Yep.
Right. So no, that's beautiful, man. We need the foundation. Listen, I want to make this very clear. Bryan is here for a limited amount of time. If you had questions for him, I want you to put it in the Q&A section. If you have any objections, by the way, as well, because I want to have some time at the end, or maybe sometime throughout, we'll do some role play about with some objections.
Let me add something real quick, Antoine.
Yes, sir.
You brought up something very important, right? Let's say me and Antoine work with one of you personally, or anybody watching the recording. I don't know if you're going to give out the recording, right? But if you are and you're listening, let's say we work with you. We give you the goods. I give you the smoothest stuff. I go into my ancient black book of like the deepest hypnotic techniques and NLP stuff and all this stuff. And I give you the goods to where you can literally make somebody float with your words.
Yep.
If we give you all that, and right here, going into an appointment, you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this one. You already lost. Because that's when he said psychology, that's what that is. There's a difference between having nervous excitement and not believing in the tools and yourself. There's a clear difference there, because when I was nervous, I knew I put in the work and I was just excited. It was just a surplus of energy in my body. And I was like, let's go, man. I'm excited. And I actually pointed that out to one of my new agents, like right before I left. We were walking up to a listing appointment and I was helping him. I was like, man, I miss that kind of rookie feeling. I was like, because for me, this is just, another one, right?
Right. Driving a car.
But I missed that. You see, but I explained it to him early on. I was like, that's not weakness, bro. That's excitement. And the fact that you put in the work, you're about to be rewarded for your work. So the reason you doubt yourself, if we're going to tie this in, we can say logically and say, well, how do I build my mindset? Through hard work, man. Because when you show up for the appointment, even if you have a sliver of doubt, if you've put in the work like I used to, I was like, bro, I knocked 3,000 doors. I role played 30 hours to get to this appointment. I'm taking this motherfucker down. Like no question, I'm taking it down. Why? I earned this. It wasn't given to me. I earned this. I had to battle this dude to get from practicing my script 6,000 times to get the appointment set. Like, I earned this moment, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna grab the bull by the horns, because what needs to shift in you guys is you need to want something and then go after it and get it, because no one's gonna give it to you.
Facts.
Right? You gotta go get it. When you go in for the appointment, the attitude needs to be, this is mine. I'm taking this. I earned this position, right? And I understand it's difficult to do that at times, because the world tells us, oh, you can't do that. That's arrogant, Antoine. You can't say that. It's like, no, it's not, dude. I believe in myself. If I'm a warrior going into battle, you think my captain wants me to be this, oh, no, it's okay. And no, it's like, we're going to go in there. We're going to dominate, bro. We're going to take out all these people, because that's the attitude you need in that moment. So when we zoom in on the moment, right, of setting an appointment, going on a listing presentation, meeting a buyer where the contract's going to be signed, man, you need to be Achilles from Troy. You need to be Leonidas from 300, right? Like, have that type of swagger. Now you build that up through experience, but the preface to that and the most important part is the mental, dude. This is why, like, if I do higher tier events, a lot of it is up here, man. It is psychology, because that's what separates the top dogs from everybody else is up here. It's not talent. It's not that I was born this master conversationalist. No, dude, it's up here. It's I believe in myself more than the next guy. That's why. That alone, especially if you're new, will give off that vibe to where a homeowner might be like, damn, Antoine's like, he's confident. I think, honey, I think this is the guy. You're going to hear stuff like this. It feels right. Right?
Yes.
Because that's an emotion that you're creating in them. It's not logical. If it was logical, I wouldn't even win, because the guy who's been in the business 50 years, who sells 6,000 homes, would beat us every time.
100%, dude. Everybody write this down, because if you haven't noticed, what he talked about was confidence. Write this down. Confidence and commissions go hand in hand.
Yep.
Real estate is a game of confidence. How do you gain confidence? He mentioned experience. putting in the reps. He mentioned he role played for 2 hours a day. He role played more than what people was actually prospecting. That's how you build the confidence. And don't be, and yes, it's okay to be nervous, but if you're confident because you put hours and hours and hours of work in on your presentation, you could still stumble in the fact that you know how to pick up with your energy and you feel good about yourself. A client will look at you and say, yeah, I like him. Because the last person that came in wasn't even dressed apart. He didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't come prepared. Like, you can literally stumble into some business by just being confident.
Absolutely.
So that's
100%. 100. Even when I would mess up, I would own it. I'm like, man, I'm so excited, Mr. Seller, that I can't even spit the words out of my mouth. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
There you go.
That.
There you go. But like, I'm not going to try to hide it. It's obvious, you know,
right.
But it's the same thing. It's just, you're excited. You're excited.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about scripts. Now, there are so many different scripts that you can utilize, right? You got LP Mama, you got ALM, you got for sub-owner script. It could be Mike Ferry, Kevin Ward, Tom Ferry, doesn't matter. You got circle prospecting. You could come up with your own scripts. Bryan, if you were talking to a new agent and what would you tell a new agent? Like, what script should a new agent learn immediately?
What does this sound like, Antoine? I don't know, Antoine. You know, I'm just not the type of dude that uses scripts and
we all use scripts though, right? If you
Everybody
don't, even
does.
though you don't, everybody has a script. If you call somebody and you don't have a script in front of you, but you're talking to somebody, that is your script.
Yeah.
Right. So we all got a script, but I think some people don't want to read or that sounds too robotic, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Even when we used to mac on girls, bro, we would use the scripts too. We had our
It's
one
a script.
We knew what worked, right? It's the same thing.
100%. That's funny.
So this is what I would tell them, man. Like, you know, of course, you know, agent joins my team, my network, we give them, you know, like the basic scripts that I use, like the Mike Ferry, you know, whatever it is, right? But let's say you get given different ones, right? This is what I'd recommend. Regardless of what you're given, learn them, practice them. Why? Because when I was a new agent and now you being a new agent, you're not in a position to question the veracity of those things. Because that's the first thing I hear. Like, they'll question it. I'm like, dude, you're coming to us to learn to be successful in real estate, and you're going to question the blueprint that I'm giving you from your position. That doesn't make any sense. Right now, again, it's typically emotional nervousness, right? It's something else that just comes out that way. Like, oh, I don't want to use scripts. It's like, dude, you want to learn from me? I use them. I've talked about them. And now all of a sudden, but they're not for you. Like, right. Right. So again, psychology, right? That same script has made us millions. And then for them, they claim it doesn't work. So,
that's called being coachable too, right? BC?
Yeah, exactly. Take them, learn them inside and out, to where I could call you at 3 a.m. and wake you up and be like, what's the third line on the FSBO script? And you just spit it out. When you get to that level, now we can talk about making you a little bit more smooth, adding some things, changing some things, but you better know that listing presentation, expired, FSBO, inside and out. And then I don't even want to hear the next question. Well, which one should I learn first, Antoine? Learn them all. Learn them all. It doesn't matter what order, because then I'll get a list of questions, bro. Like, which one? And then, like, as I do, just do it. There's no perfect formula that we can give you. Just learn them, because when you do, this is the key for the new agent. That gives you that baseline of confidence. Because now when you go out, you're like, okay, I know what to say. Like, I've read the objection handlers. I've studied them. I know how to open the conversation. I know what questions to ask. You'll have a basic level of confidence and comfort in the conversation, because you know now the flow of it and the parameters, we can say, of the conversation. You know, they may say this, you have to say this and get these questions answered. All right, let's play, right? Let's roll the dice. Now you're not going in blind. You have something. So that's another reason I tell agents you got to learn them, is it gives you that initial level 1 confidence to where now you can go out and feel pretty good.
Yes. Again, it comes back to the confidence, right? And a script is just words in a specific sequence, right? And the purpose of a script is to help you identify a need that who you're talking to. Like, what is the need that what are they trying to accomplish, right? And then your job in that script, as you're asking the questions, because all scripts are questions, is you got to prescribe a solution. But you can only prescribe a solution when you identify what their need is, and you do that via a script.
Yes.
And then a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to sound robotic, yeah, Bryan said you got to memorize the script first, then you got to internalize it. So then you understand why you're saying, no or yes, or why you're asking that question. And then you could personalize it to not sound robotic. Then with the confidence that you build from the reps and you've practiced in the script, it allows you to speak as an authority, as a confident leader in the real estate space. Scripts are that important.
Yeah, man. And I tell people, like, an easy way to know to your level is, imagine you're like me and you, right? We're just friends, we're hanging out and we're asking each other these questions. How would I say it to you? Right. Compared to how do I think I'm supposed to say it? Because they also have that image, like they're supposed to be the salesman, like hi, Antoine, good morning. How are you? It's like, no, dude, you don't have to do that. Right. We still have to ask the questions, but we don't turn into that movie Disney character that you think is the salesman. Like, that's the one that's corny and robotic. But really, the manifestation of that, bro, is just you're not smooth yet. And that's okay. You have to get there. You have to get through the robotic phase to become smooth, because I can tell you, bro, I've never been asked, are you using a script? If anything, my clients, and I'm telling you, bro, some clients, I sell the shit out of them, bro. Like, you're gonna listen, you're like, damn, Bryan's going in hard. And they're like, oh, it felt so smooth. It never felt like he was selling us. And I'm sitting there like, damn, like, I asked this dude for his phone number when I met him like 13 times before he gave it to me. And he's saying I wasn't pushy. And like, I literally, one guy, he did a testimonial and I laughed. I used it at an event. I put it on the screen. I said, this dude, when I got his number at the door, I had to ask him like 12 times. And he's saying I wasn't salesy. I had to ask him 12 times. And he said, I'm not salesy. That means I asked him in that meeting 12 times to get it. Like, bro, do you have any idea how long 12 times asking the number takes? And it didn't feel salesy, but that's a product of experience, bro. And I wasn't that OG in the game yet. Because another distinction we need to make, and this one bruises a lot of people's egos. If you've had your license for more than a year, you're not a new agent anymore. You're now a non-producing agent. Ooh. I'm gonna say that again. You're not a new agent anymore. Because again, don't people use that as an excuse? Oh, Antoine, I've only had my license 3 years. Like, what do you mean? Say, no, bro, you've been in the game. You've had enough time. You're just a non-producing agent now, right? And it's a blow to a lot of people, but it's true. Now, when you do that, you'll at least accept, okay, I got to get my ish together and I got to do something, because we have to, it's the same. And that's psychology, bro, because that's what keeps that person running after the new agent content. Oh, how to get started. It's like, bro, you've been in the game 4 years. What do you mean how to get started? You already know what to do, but you keep yourself in that repetitive cycle because up here, you still view and treat yourself like the brand new day one agent when you're 3 years in the game, dude. You're an OG in 3 years in the game, bro. Right? Or in Spanish, you're a veterano, dog. Like you're been in the game for a minute, dude. Like 3 years is a lot of time. So again, I'm just trying to flip these perspectives for people so you break out of that cage, right? You don't, the best part about this business, and 1 year, your communication skills can make you feel when you talk to people like a top dog, and they'll be like, oh, Antoine's the man. Like, oh, he's sharp, dresses sharp, talks sharp, moves sharp. They won't question how many homes you've sold or anything like that. In 1 year or less, with the proper effort, not being perfect, but taking these scripts and basics and applying them at a high level. And I, like, literally what I did was probably obsessive, but that's okay. I was obsessing in my own personal development and my involvement in this career. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody around me made fun of me and said, you're crazy. And again, they called me the robot because I did the same thing every day. But 6 months later, a year later, hey, bro, what are you doing? How are you getting all these
there it is.
I'm like, bro, you've been watching me every day. What do you mean? How am I getting the deals? While y'all are drinking water at the cooler, I got 2 phones on the bullpen and I'm making calls. You know what I mean? I knew Eduardo would like that, right? He gets it.
What's up?
But like you've been in the game is what I'm saying. But that's a mentality. That's a shift. That's a mental shift, not an application. It's a mental shift. But again, we can talk game to you guys all day. You have to start to believe it. That's the difference.
They're 100%. So let's talk about taking the action. So Bryan said, it don't matter what script it is, learn them all. He said, learn them all. Let's talk about taking the action. And you mentioned before, I love the fact that you said you used to role play for 2 hours. I actually remember role playing, man, I'll never forget this. Well, we was in San Diego, right? Now I'm about a year and a half into this thing. And I'm putting in the work every day to try to like perfect my skills as far as a communicator, learning scripts. And I remember we were in this mansion in San Diego, and Brian's there, Colton, Lindsay, AJ Maida, and like, what is maybe 10, 15 of us?
Yeah.
We're just kicking it. Man, we're in the kitchen, and I remember everybody starts role playing like scripts and trying to like stump each other. And I'm sitting there like, oh, dude, like all this work I've been putting in, but now it's the time, right?
Yeah.
And I will never forget that. I remember leaving that mastermind and say, I'm never going to feel that way again. I'm going to continue to work even harder to where I can role play with anyone and be good. So let's talk about role play.
And for the record, I was schooling all these guys when it came to that role play. I was just mopping them. I was doing it in English, Spanish, Chinese, every language.
100%. Hey, because I remember the next mastermind, it was in Miami, the one I went to, and I had my chance, and we were doing the actual presentation. And that was when the infamous slide the paper over with the pen, please sign right here. Remember y'all was making fun of me for that?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about role playing. So when it comes to role playing, you say you did it for 2 hours a day. What would you recommend for somebody who, and it could be a new agent, a veteran agent, but how often should they be practicing?
I would say minimum, if you really are taking your skills seriously, an hour a day. I would do a 30-minute session in the morning minimum before you get on the phones or on the doors. Because what does every professional athlete or professional actor do before they start? They practice, they warm up. It's the same thing. Yep. And then in the afternoon, when you have that lull, I know many people between like 1 and 3 or 4, unless they have appointments, they have that little lull period where they take a break, have lunch, follow up, do another 30-minute or hour session. Like when I started 10 years ago, the game was different. Now, shit, you got TikTok, Instagram. I mean, you can find role play partners in the comment section of videos. I would even say in some of my videos, comment below so y'all can connect and role play with each other. Now, would people do it? Of course not, because they don't want to take the action, but it's everywhere. Now, what I did, and remember what I said in the beginning, I got a coach. So what did I do? I go to the first Mike Ferry event. The first 5-6 rows, bro, are all the top producers. They're selling at least 50 homes a year, I think, or more a year. What do I do during the breaks? I take my newbie ass in the front. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm a new agent. Can you role play? Would you role play with me? I ended up asking 100 people, bro. You know how many told me yes? 3. 3 top dogs actually gave me a chance. And again, you know, we're punctual every morning at 6, 7, whenever we get on the phone. After like a month or two, they're like, damn, bro, like you're getting smooth. Well, what do you think? I'm role playing 2 hours a day, and half my role play partners are top dogs. I'm doing 2-3 sessions a day with them. You get good, man. And when you show up, like, let's say some of you like over there, maybe in Indiana, get Antoine to role play with you. That's a different role play. You're going to be 5 minutes early, like dress sharp, smelling good. Like, all right, let's go. So you prepare differently. You won't just go through the motions like you maybe do with your agent friend over there in your office, and y'all just chit chat instead of role play. Now that you stepped up with a better role play partner and you raise the standard, you're going to show up in a raised standard, right? You're not going to show 100%. Up in sandals and flip-flops to his office to role play. Hey, dog, I'm here to role play. You ready? No, he's going to be like, go home, change, and come back, dress like a man, dress like an actual agent. You won't do that. But my question to you guys would be, why don't you show yourself the same respect? Why do we treat the everyday stuff like, oh, okay, I'll just roll out of bed and do it. But then if it's me or Antoine, you're showing up early. And if you can't make it, you're calling us an hour before. Hey, I'm having problems. Like you'll over communicate, right? Because that's really what it is, man. And then the little details we call, as soon as I call, ring, ring, it's, you say hello. It's hi, is this Antoine? Like right there. We're right into it. We're not, oh, hey, Antoine, what's up, man? How are the kids? How's the wife? Like, when am I going to come out over there? When are we going to do an event? Because then that turns into 15 minutes of chit chat. It's simple. 100%, dude. That's play, so key. Again, because some people ask, role play is not you standing in front of the mirror reading the scripts. Okay, because some people say, oh, I role play by like reading it to myself. That's not role play, dude. That's you being with you, being silly, right? You got to get another agent, right? And they'll say, oh, well, I can't find somebody. You didn't try hard enough, bro. If you can't find somebody in 2023, you didn't try. All you got to do is, dude, I could go up to my neighbor right now. Hey, neighbor, you want to role play? Real estate role play, not the one you're thinking about, right? Real estate. And I guarantee you, like, even if I ask my neighbor, hey, would you be willing to pretend to be a customer so I can practice? I guarantee you some of my neighbors would say yes if I asked. If you have to do that and say, pretend like you're selling your house and I'm pitching you, right? Do it, right? If you can't find agents in the meantime. But you got to practice, man. Practice with your parents. Shit. Never mind. I don't think my parents would have role played with me either. So maybe that's not the one to go with.
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing. And Bryan mentioned something that when you role play with somebody who's not actually, even if you live in the same town, when you're talking to people, you're calling them like a prospect, you're calling them, unless you're a door knocker. But if you're going to role play, the idea of calling them, they pick up and you go right into the script is so powerful.
Yep.
So you're building the habit to flow right into it. I used to role play with Dylan and Cody. Remember Dylan and Cody Barton?
Yep.
Will, all the people, we would kill each other in role plays.
Yeah.
You got to do that because you bleed. What is it? You bleed in the practice or in the you bleed in practice. So then you something in the game or something like that. But you make it difficult. You make the practice hard. Yeah. So then the game becomes easy. Not the other way around,
man. 100%. And you know, when we look at this thing, like it's not complicated either. Like we can make some tweaks. Like if you have the scripts memorized or you're already getting comfortable with them, then the only tweak you need to make is make it a little bit more conversational. Like if I call Antoine, right? If we're going to get into technical stuff, I'm not going to say, oh, hello, is this Antoine Thomas, the owner of 123 Elm Street? Like we don't do that. Like if he picks up and it's a male and I see on the title, it says Antoine, he says, hello, I'm going to say, Antoine? He says, yes. Yeah, it's me. Like that's how I'm going to get his attention, right? Because that's different than the typical salesperson. Oh, hello, good morning. Is this Antoine? Like, so you can catch linguistically how most people sound. You still want to learn the script so you know it. Then the next step is make it more conversational. So I'm not going to say, well, hello, Antoine. My name is Bryan with Real Brokerage LLC. I'm going to say, hey, Antoine, Bryan here. And I'm going to get right into it. Reason I'm calling is blank. Just get right into it, dude. Like we don't need this. People think we need these magical words. And the other key I'm going to give you guys, generally speaking, because we have to mirror and match. Antoine speaks quickly. I'm going to speak quickly. However, most of you need to take it down 2 or 3 notches in speed. You don't realize that your energy and your enthusiasm gets you a little nervous and you start talking fast like this, right? And fast talking is always perceived as weakness. Think of every example we have in history. Look at the movies. Everybody with power pauses and speaks slowly. The kings. The person right before they were going to get beheaded, right? Oh my God, Antoine, please let me explain it. Boom, they cut his head off, right? That's coming from a position of weakness. Same thing with the person who's being interrogated by the cops, right? The lights on them, they're talking fast, they're sweating. Oh, let me explain, right? You get caught stealing. Oh, no, it's not what it looks like, right? You go fast. The person coming in, trying to get your attention, all nervous, like talks fast. I can keep giving you examples. Slow it down. And it's difficult because you think, oh, if I talk fast and spit out the script, Antoine's going to listen. Because when I call you or I knock on your door, most people aren't, and this is more psychology stuff. I open the door, I pick up the phone. Most people, again, they're not well-versed socially. So there's going to be a moment of fight or flight or, wait, who is this? So the conscious mind for a couple seconds is shut off. So the first couple of things you're saying is going in one ear and out the other. So you need to slow down even more. How did I figure this out? From experience. Because when I would get people on the conversation, a minute later, they're like, wait, what did you say your name was? Wait, what did you say? And they were asking about stuff in the beginning, even though I said it kind of slow. So I said, the conscious mind is shutting off because it's that, oh, here's a stranger at my door type thing, right? So slow down, make it conversational and slow down. First thing though, memorize the script. So all of you that work with Antoine, you guys are going to drill and you're going to have the script fully memorized before you make any adjustments. And he's going to check in with me.
Yeah, facts. They got to get script certified before they can even start calling around here.
There we go.
No, that's beautiful. Breaking patterns and being able to slow down. And actually, I remember because we're going to talk about prospecting and presentations. And like when it comes to making the phone calls and talking to people, like if you say, hey, Bryan, like when somebody picks up the phone, you say, hey, is this Bryan? Or hey, Bryan? And they're like, oh, yeah, they're thinking, who is it? Does this person know me? Right. So that gives you a couple more seconds on the phone to then go into the script as well. So all those things are key. In regards to prospecting, how many hours do you recommend prospecting per day? If you have, let's say I don't want to keep saying you're a new agent, but what's the minimum per day, would you say?
If they're a non-producing agent, right?
There we go. Non-producing agent.
Yeah. I'm going to make a reel like that. It's going to blow up and I guarantee I'll just get a bunch of hate in the comments. I've had my license 10 years. I'm a new agent though. So leave me alone. Right. this is what I recommend, man. Again, I'm more of the workhorse. If you got nothing going on, again, my question is, what else are you doing? I'm going to recommend at least 4 hours a day, at least.
Oh, man.
Unless you come here and you're like, I got 6 kids and I got another part-time job, and like it's literally impossible because you work another job or something logistically like that. But even then, you can still squeeze in probably 2.5 or 3 if you're dedicated.
Yeah.
But I'm going to recommend at least 4. I did at least 4 every day, and 1 day a week I would do the like Mike Ferry called it the prospecting blitz, where I would do at least like 6 hours,
In
because
one day.
again, I didn't have a lot of leads or appointments. So,
Yep.
but nowadays they can say, oh, BC, I watched 20 of your YouTube videos. I'm like, dude, that's not work. Because I would even ask, from those videos, what specifically did you take and what did you apply that same day versus just watching it and feeling good? You know what I mean? Because like, what's the practical application in there? And like I'm very vocal with people. I've been saying it more and more. I don't watch YouTube, bro. I read books. I don't listen to podcasts either. I read books, or I listen to an audiobook of a book.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to get caught up, again, listening but not applying. And if you're really not internalizing or using the exercises that are given in the books, what are you really doing besides just passing time?
Yeah, that's so key, man. The information, we're in the information age. Everything is available at our fingertips to learn something new. And we are supposed to prospect from 8 to noon. We hop on YouTube, we watch a video of Bryan or of Antoine or somebody, and we're feeling good because we're learning something. We're getting new information. And the next thing you know, it's new. And it's like, oh man, I didn't even make a call. It's like, dude, you would have been better off just taking action instead of just listening to a video.
Or this, while you're calling, have my video up and pause it, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe while it's ringing, you can kind of listen to it low in the background and then pause it when somebody picks up, but at least do it simultaneously, right? Because then you can say, okay, I'm listening to how he handled that objection. Like, okay, that works. But if you're just sitting there, you're supposed to be on the phone at 8 and it's 8:15 and you're still watching our videos, you're making a mistake, bro.
Yep. You already screwed yourself at that point because you didn't stick to your commitment. So prospect 4 hours a day if you don't have nothing else going on, because what else are you going to do? Okay. So you got to prospect. Presentations. Let's talk about presentations and how important it is to make sure you're following the process. You have a process and you follow it. That way you have confidence and you can build trust with the client. So let's talk about listing presentations. Bryan, what is your process when it comes to getting prepared, doing the listing presentation, and then maybe even some follow-up? What can you break that down for us?
Yeah, we'll call somebody. Let's say they become a lead. Eventually we convert them, or we convert them on that first or second contact into an appointment. Immediately they're pre-qualified. Once they're pre-qualified and they pass the pre-qualification 100% with flying colors, then they're sent a pre-listing package. We make sure that they receive it. We then make sure that they review it, and we confirm that they reviewed it and had if they have additional questions, we'll address it at the meeting. We then, on the way to the meeting, we'll confirm with them that it's still good, right? And if not, we have to reschedule. We'll go to the meeting, we'll do the presentation, we'll get it signed most of the time. I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 times we'll get it signed. And then we go through the whole process, right? You take it back to the office and you get to work.
Now, let me ask you this. That's beautiful, right? It's simple, but it's effective, okay? You said pre-qualified. Now, this is my hallucination, okay? The most important part of a listing presentation isn't the actual presentation itself. In my opinion, it's the pre-qualification and the preparation for the listing presentation. And the reason why I say that is because when you pre-qualify, you learn what it is that seller wants to achieve, right? You get the data that you need to, if you need to, customize your presentation around the information that you gathered.
Yep.
Right? Because every seller is different. So you got to get good at being able to personalize these presentations. If you don't have that information, you're walking in blind. It's like a doctor not doing any type of pre-checkup before a surgery, or, you see what I'm saying? So I think, in my opinion, that's the most important part. How often would you say, give me a percentage, how often should somebody pre-qualify before a presentation?
Even if your mom wants to sell her house, you should pre-qualify.
Boom, there you go. I have found, Bryan, let me know if you agree with me. I have found that when I ask people after they've done a presentation, I'm like, did you pre-qualify them? Whether they got it or not, 30% of them say, yeah, I did pre-qualify. Why do you think we're so afraid of the pre-qualification? What do you think that is?
Scarcity. You want to fool yourself into thinking that it's a great lead when it probably isn't, because maybe you're struggling and you're not making money, or you're desperate for your first deal. It's something emotional, bro. And instead of just doing it right, you want to comfort yourself. That's really what it is. So instead of losing these leads, I'm just going to go, because then you can brag, oh, I have 2 listing appointments this week. It's like, bro, those aren't listing appointments.
It's a CMA
those aren't listing
drop
appointments,
off,
right? That's a free CMA drop off that you fooled yourself into thinking is a listing appointment, bro. Like, get out of here.
Yep. And let's even talk about post presentation, especially in the market that we're in, at least here in Indiana. Homes sit a little longer. I think if a home's sitting longer than 7 days, the seller's looking at you like, what? Right? Which is still like 7 days is not a long time.
Yeah.
How important is future pacing and setting the expectation with that seller post presentation? How important is that, DC?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say you have to prepare your clients, right? You have to preface everything that's going to come. So he referred to an NLP tactic called future pacing. So let me give you an example. Let's say I set an appointment with Jim. I'm like, Jim, this is what's going to happen. Now I'm going to tell him what's going to happen in the future. We're going to meet Wednesday. Make sure that you have a copy of the key, because at that point, at the meeting, I'll also have a lockbox, and I'll leave it there on the property in preparation for the showings. We're then going to have the photographer come on Thursday to get all the pictures, and we can expect to go live officially on the MLS by Saturday, assuming all goes well. And, so I'm explaining what's going to happen in the future before it happens. That's future pacing, basically. So when you prepare your client and you say, hey, we just signed. Thank you again, Mr. Seller. Obviously, you made the best decision on the planet hiring Team BC. Everybody knows that, right?
Notice if he actually is, I'm sorry, BC. Notice how he actually included some humor into that conversation. I guarantee you that is a script that BC actually uses when he talks to a seller. Humor builds rapport because they feel more at ease with you, if that makes sense, right? Am I right, BC? Or am I
100%, bro. The number one way to break tension also is laughter. So I tell people, if you can even get good at humor, and this is a little bit more advanced for those of you who maybe don't understand it from a technical standpoint, but like a lot of times right before I ask for the signature, I'll have a light moment like that to get them to laugh and relax, and boom, just like the Antoine, I'm sliding in the contract and the pen. And they feel all good inside, and they're smiling. They're like, oh yeah. And they're like celebrating. I'm like, let's pop some bottles. You signed the listing. Let's go. But going back to what you asked, I let them know. I'm like, hey, so I'll even remind them again and say, we've had some discussions about the market. Are we clear on expectations in regards to this time frame?
Ooh, I like that.
And they'll be like, okay, so let me give you an idea, right? On average right now, just to remind you again, homes in our area are sitting for about 30 or 45 days. Meaning if this first week or two, it's not like a marathon with people coming through here, you'll be okay, right? Like understand that the market has shifted. It's not like it was a year ago where the moment I list it, like 10 offers fall into my lap, right? Like we passed that era. Doesn't mean you're going to get less. Doesn't mean we're going to have to, bend over backwards for buyers. It's just, it's going to take a little bit longer. We're going more towards what's called a normal market. Does that make sense? Right.
I love that.
And you're just setting them up. Right. And then I'm going to be, and this is where you have to set up based on your standard. Like you all should have a standard operating procedure on what you do. So I go to the list and say, okay, this is your post signing of the listing, lingo, preparation, documentation that you give the seller. You let them know, hey, we're going to be communicating. You said Friday was a good day for you, right? When would you like for me to give you a call and give you an update? Afternoon, evening, right?
Yes.
And this is one that I would recommend that all of you do. This is like the little bonus that I tell a lot of agents to do. It's 2 things. And this is more like emotional, right? I said, look, Mr. Seller, it's normal when you make a decision of this magnitude, moving on to a new chapter of your life, that, emotions can come up, right? So this first week, maybe 2 weeks, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you start feeling like maybe, like uncomfortable or anything, right? I want you to call me. Before you make any decision or come to any conclusion about it, I want you to call me. Fair? And they'll say yes. Why? Because some people will wake up, have a bad dream, and be like, oh my God, Antoine, I want to cancel.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh man.
So this prepares them for that. The second one is this. I say, look, Mr. Seller, now that you listed with me, which by the way, fantastic decision, right? I always throw that shit in, man. I say, look, now everyone's going to talk to you about real estate, right? Like real estate is going to be the topic of conversation. Somewhere, someone's going to say something that may surprise you, rub you the wrong way, or maybe get you to question something that we've agreed upon or something that I've told you. In
Ooh,
the
that's so
event
good.
that that happens, before you make any decision or believe it, I want you to call me first. Fair?
That's so good.
Because what's going to happen? Hey, oh, Antoine, Brian's charging you 7%. Oh, my boy will do it for 1%. What are you doing, bro? And then what do?
That's
They
so
call you.
good.
I want to cancel. I'm going with this guy. I just avoided that by preparing them. Because then now the conversation is, hey, my friend told me that, you're overcharging me and this and that. That's a different conversation than, hey, I want to cancel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you can preface it and say, look, I mean, I get it. People want to give you advice. We all have our opinions, but again, you've aligned with me. You're working with me. I'm the expert here. I will guide you. So if anything comes in, bring it up to me. We'll talk about it. We'll chat about it. I'll let you know what's true, what's not, and what the best course of action is. Okay. And you coach them, right? The more preparation you do up front, just like the pre-qual, the smoother the transaction is. It's the same thing with the buyer. Before I even show a property to a buyer, we've gone through the whole purchase contract and purchase agreement. They already know. So by the time it's time to sign, it's not, whoa, what am I signing? It's, oh, okay. I remember. Sign. You turn in because that's the worst thing you want. Wait, what are we signing here, Antoine?
Yep.
And now it's like, wait, we can't just sign it. We need to talk to our parents. We need to do this and that. You just caused that problem by not prefacing it and not future pacing them by showing them what's going to happen, right? Again, you may not have known that. I did it in the beginning, but we figured it out. And that's why we're telling you to do it.
Man, so powerful. Listen, on the replay, you need to rewatch that part 1,000,000 times because he just made you, if you implement what he just said, I promise you over the lifetime of your career, you will make hundreds of thousands of dollars just from implementing that. That is so key. Those are the language patterns in the scripts and the dialogues that you have to get dialed in if you want to be an agent that breaks through and commands the market. Brother, I know we're getting close on time. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. I see.
Yeah, Ken asked something, bro. If you want to, he asked about FSBO. So great question, Ken. What you need to understand is this, bro. When you call a FSBO initially, right? I think, and I'm not saying you think this, but a lot of people think you're going to wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, quickie, these FSBOs and just get an appointment and slam them and get a 7% commission. Yeah. Dude, that's what you see on YouTube. Those are the highlights. Right. Even the ones that I post, you didn't see the other 50 where I got hung up on. They told me to go F myself and get a real job. You missed all that because on the initial call, it's very rare that you're going to smooth them, get an appointment and go. So if they bring it up, right, I'm not going to argue with them on the first call about it. I would say, okay, great. So if I brought you a buyer, would you cooperate and pay a commission? Oh, in that case, yeah, we would pay 2%. Okay, fantastic. So I bring you the buyer. What's next? Where are you guys headed to? And I'm into the script. Right now, if they bring it up again, when I go to set the appointment, then I can say, look, I'm confident, Ken, if it was you, I'm confident, Ken, that what we bring to the table can more than compensate for any fee that you would pay. I'm very confident. Would you be willing to give me 15 minutes to prove it to you?
I love that. Boom.
And they might say, no, that's fine. I might ask again 1 or 2 more times, but I'm not going to hammer them to where they hate me. They're like, oh, fuck this guy. He just wants an appointment. I would say, look, that's fine. I'll check in with you in a couple of days. By the way, do you need any help? Oh, what do you mean? You're marketing the home on Zillow, right? Do you have any other techniques for marketing it? I might even say, hey, you know what? I'm going to door knock your neighborhood anyway. You want me to tell the neighbors about it?
Yeah, that's powerful.
Now you have to agree with me though, Ken, that if I bring you one of those buyers from door knocking to your neighbors, I get an extra % because I'm working hard.
Humor. There it is. Yeah, boom. Now that's powerful. And I think understanding that FSBOs is a nurture game as well. Like he mentioned, you're not gonna. It's unlikely you convert them on the first try. So you got to.
Damn, bro, I got the neighborhood peacock over here, screaming. I don't know if you can hear him on the mic. Damn.
Okay, I've seen him on your. I've seen him on your Facebook.
Bro? People think he's my pet. They think that peacock is my pet. Like, bro, it's a wild peacock. He's not my pet. He just likes the vibe of the house. He's always hanging out.
He just be hanging out in the backyard chilling. No, that's good. So if nobody has any objections, what's objections that you're hearing often, BC?
I mean, it's always the same ones, bro. I mean, right now you might hear buyers, oh, I want to wait. But you guys have to assess somebody's situation. It might not make sense for them to wait. In some cases, yeah. If a buyer told me 6 months ago, oh, I want to buy and then sell for a profit in 6 months and then move, I would say, no, don't do it because we don't know. There's an uncertainty in the market. You should wait if that's your actual genuine plan. But if someone's going to stay in a home for 5 or 6 years, right? What's better for them? to start building equity, to start building payment history, to then make the upgrade? Or should they just keep delaying and keep delaying and keep delaying, right? How about somebody who's going to sell and move up into a higher price point, right? If the home they're going to move into is $1 million and the one that they're at is 500,000, well, if it goes up 10%, this one went up 100K, this one went up 50K. They just lost 50K in equity by waiting, right? So these are the little things that you need to look at objectively when you talk to people, that whatever they say on the surface, dig and find out more information to see if what they're saying actually lines up with their goals and what they want, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about what they want. I've looked on paper and said, man, these people should not buy a house. And I've told the clients, like, you guys are right, borderline, I would wait. And they're like, no, our one dream is to buy a house. You want to buy a house? I'm like, all right, it's your decision. But at least I'm forthcoming with them. And I'm saying, like, dude, like, you're one emergency away from being out on your ass. But they're like, you know, we've waited our whole lives for this. We want to buy a house. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to stop you from doing what you want to do, but at least I spoke my piece to them. But it's about what they want. And again, some of the stuff that people parrot, some of the stuff the news tells them and what they see on Yahoo News and all that other garbage, they're just repeating it, right? It's all hysteria. Now, the difference is, as an agent, you need more skill because the market isn't in your favor. The media isn't in your favor. Now you need actual skill. That's the difference. That's why people, oh man, it's a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's not a struggle. You just need to ask a couple more questions and be a little bit more informed, and you can convert people. Will there be overall maybe a few less people in the market? Sure, because the speculators are out, the people who rode the wave of the market, but there's still people transacting in real estate. The question is, are you finding them, and are you having good enough conversations? It's the same thing when I would preview homes. People don't do this, bro. How do you become a market expert? You want more confidence meeting with the seller? Preview homes. Oh, how about the home around the corner? Oh, I went to see that one in person, Mr. Seller. Did you? Guarantee you the answer is no. Right there, all the challenges stop. Oh, the one that had the granite countertops, the little purple backsplash, the upgraded kitchen with the Brazilian granite. Yeah, I remember that one. Did you go to see it too? They're going to say, no, we just looked at it online. Oh, okay, yeah. So one thing I do in my preparation for really understanding the market, Mr. Seller, is I preview homes every day. Do you know what that is? I'll explain it to them. They'll know. So I visit 3-4 new listings every single working day, Monday through Friday. And then through the years, what I've been doing is, in my mind, based on my expertise, I'll write down what I believe it's going to sell for, the days it'll take, and the final price. So I've been doing that for 3 or 4 years. You may be talking to other agents. Are they doing that?
Ooh.
But see, I'm not just saying that. I'm doing it. So that comes out differently when you're actually doing it. Now it's like, if we're going to go Tony Montana, you can literally pull out your balls and put them on the table, right? And you're like, see? But again, that's a script in quotes that I made up. But what is it? It's a result of the hard work that I put in. It's like, and many of you will shy away at a seller who challenges you on the price. Dude, you're the professional. Even a FSBO, right? I appreciate the fact that they're do it yourself and they have the confidence. I appreciate that, but you don't know more than me, bro. Right? Now, it's not that you yell at them, but in your mind, you need to have that like warrior mentality. Like, bro, I'm the expert here. Why am I going to, like, imagine you walk into a lawyer's office and he tucks his tail between his legs and like supplicates to you. You wouldn't hire him. You'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? Right? Just like a speaker. Imagine, like, you know, the WGR event. I go on stage and I'm like apologizing for my speech and being all like, oh no, I don't want to offend anybody. Right? They'd be like, get this dude off the stage, bro. Like, who is this? He's a clown. But again, that's internal. But that internal switch came from that outward hard work. I previewed the homes. So when somebody would challenge me, I would double down on my position. I'm like, this is the right price, Mr. Seller. I'm going to trust the fact that I've been previewing 15 to 20 houses per week for the last 6 months. I know this market inside and out. I've met your neighbors personally and talked to them. Name somebody who's more qualified than me, please. Oh, the guy who's been doing this 20 years. Has he previewed the homes and has he talked to your neighbors?
Authority.
Or is he just on the banner? Is he on the billboard? Right? I'm out here in the streets. I'm looking at homes. I study them and I'm talking to your neighbors. Who do you think is more connected, me or him? Right? And again, how do I come up with these scripts? By doing the work. That's it. You guys might think, oh, that might be too much. No, it's not. That's me saying I'm here and I'm legitimate, Mr. Seller. Because no one's talking to them that way. Not in the way that I talk to them, but the information that I'm saying. Everybody's saying, well, Antoine has a 100-point marketing plan, Mr. Seller. I have a 115-point marketing plan. I have 15 more points. They're arguing at that level.
Yeah.
Yet every realtor knows that a marketing plan is bullshit.
Yep. Because most people say they got a marketing plan. They don't do anything anyways. They just put it on the MLS and walk away.
It's just to
from
impress the seller.
Yeah.
It's just to impress the seller.
Yep. Hey man, that's powerful stuff, brother. Yeah, appreciate you, man. What I want to do is, if people want to learn more about, scripts, dialogues, the mindset, everything that you have in regards to helping you build up other people at a high level, how can they reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you, brother?
Well, obviously the best thing for them would be to jump on the coaching that I have, right? I have multiple levels, bryancasellacoaching.com. But if you guys just want to listen to my podcast and YouTube, just like the name you see here, Bryan Casella, you can find me. You'll be able to watch a lot of my content. I have old playlists and all the content. I mean, it's been there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, right? Hosting open houses, like all those old videos have like 50, 100, 200,000 views. Because I think I was one of the first people to really start putting that stuff out. And you can find some basic stuff. But if you're really serious, I would really recommend you get on the coaching. I've been having a ton of people sign up lately, and they're just getting a tremendous amount of value, because once you tap in, everything you need is in the ecosystem. You have the right people, the right energy, right? You have all the right actions being taken by people. You have people sharing wins. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And one thing I want to say too, be on the lookout. You may, if you're in the Indiana area, Indianapolis, Lafayette, you may see Bryan in person at one of the events that the High Value Agent throws. So be on the lookout. We'll keep you posted on that. Real quick, and I know BC, I know you got to get ready to go. I want to share this with you guys. I have a Command the Market, pretty much it's a breakdown of what we talked about today. If you want a copy of that, here's a QR code for you. Go to it, scan it, and you'll get a PDF of what we talked about, what you need to do in regards to role playing, how often, which scripts to use, a template pretty much of a presentation, how to provide a 5-star customer service as well. Scan that QR code and you'll get access to that immediately. Another thing too that I want to mention is, if you are interested in learning, whether it's about joining our team, Silver Liner Real Estate Group, or if you want to learn about joining our brokerage, Real Broker, or anything coaching wise, please, here's a QR code. You can set up a time to chat with me for about 15 minutes for a discovery call. And then join our Facebook community, the High Value Agent. We share great content in there. If you were in the group, then you would have found out in the very beginning that I was hopping on a webinar with BC. And High Value Agent, man, we're putting free content in there all the time. When we do an event, it will be posted in there as well. And then everybody who signed up for this webinar will get a replay of that as well. We'll post that in the group. BC, don't you do you have any groups, or is it the Distinguished Agent? Is that just part of the coaching?
We have, I think we created a new group. Some of the people from Team BC University created. I think it's the Real Estate Skills group.
Okay.
I'll share it with you and you can post it in there if you want.
Yeah, we'll post that in there too.
Indiana, keep a lookout. I'm gonna slide through French Lick, whoop Larry Bird 101 real quick, and then I'll head over to Indianapolis and Lafayette. We'll
that's hilarious. He's said French Lick. Hey BC, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your time today. I know you got to hop on a coaching call. Again, reach out to BC if you have any questions. We'll be linking up again soon. Thank you, brother.
Yep. Thanks for having me, bro. See you.
All right, man. See you.